Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
Hey there, Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobheim. We're going to get things flipped over here.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Welcome in here to Mississippi Live Weather at 5 p.m. Gabe and I were talking about that a minute ago. We're going to have to be making sure we're saying p.m. and a.m. on this because the morning show started this morning. We thank all of you guys who tuned in to watch our meteorologist Maggie McCauley here in the Room to Room Weather Center starting at 6:30 a.m. We know that mornings are going to be absolutely fantastic starting off for her, and she's going to have some rainfall that she's tracking for tomorrow morning on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. We'll look at that and talk about that in more detail here in a minute. But this morning, what she was looking at, a record start to the day. Temperatures back in the 50s, even mid-50s out there. A couple of records around the region. Gabe will talk about the exact locations. I'm standing in one of those this evening that was under a record low this morning. Rain likely for tomorrow, and we're going to have quite a few showers do continue, not just through the day, but into the really evening, tomorrow night in some spots, and even first part of Friday with some limited chances coming up, which is kind of funny considering the drought conditions. Drought monitor comes out tomorrow, and we do expect, of course, hopefully that balancing out a little bit, and a gradual warm-up is ahead because this is August after all. It cannot and will not stay like this. Should clarify here looking at the first 12. I left my jacket at home, ran out the door a little too quickly today, so these are just, well, something that's underneath every single suit I wear or suit jacket there. No bad weather. In fact, beautiful weather out there this evening. You can see 80 degrees, that temperature at 6 p.m. By 9 o'clock, we're 69. 65 as we look toward midnight. Limited rain chances there. I mean, there will be some sprinkles, maybe as early as even 10 p.m. or so. But they're not going to add up to anything. It probably takes just in time for tomorrow morning and that morning commute. Maggie will be tracking those showers. Low 60s, not as cool as it was for today, for tomorrow morning to begin your day, as of course we're looking at the first 12 there. Outside in Crenshaw, it's 82 degrees, a lot of sunshine there, warmer than some locations. Looks like we do have a fire there in the distance. Of course, those bugs swirling around as they have so often recently. Not a lot of wind, and again, it feels like 81, which means we're slicing off a degree for that feels like temperature. That's that dry air. Dew point coming in at 46. It's really dry air. Greenwood, 90, one of the warmer locations. Again, not as much of an effect with that front. And Greenwood is going to see probably some of the later arrival on the more moderate rainfalls. We watched our wave of rain come in on this kind of northwest flow pattern, hoping it adds up to something. And in some cases, not impossible to have some patchy flooding a possibility with this. Again, some lens flares there from the sunshine in Amory. It's 84 degrees right now. Very light winds. Feels like 82. Actually slicing off 2 degrees for that temperature. Again, that mix of cloud cover there. And down on the Mississippi State campus, 82 degrees right now on a little bit of a northerly wind, which did at times today have a little bit of a cool, chilly be pushing it, but cool feel to it for at least a few moments this morning. I had to actually run down here to work on a couple things while Maggie was on the air. And in the process of doing that, went with the convertible, and it was a little chilly, had the heat on. So I don't think that, it's not necessarily something we're going to have jackets for a lot the next couple of days, but maybe for a couple of months, maybe longer pants making a difference there. Outside of the wider shot, of course, we have Fernand out there moving away from us in the Atlantic. Here is our most recent front that, of course, has that trailing front with it. And looking back to the north and west, what we were watching is this kind of wave. There's multiple waves we have there. As Gabe brings in a little closer, we're looking at what's coming in there through Kansas and back out into Arkansas there and into Oklahoma. This kind of wave is our next rain chance that is gradually moving toward us. As high pressure exits, this is going to come in. I think there'll be kind of multiple batches with it as it's kind of bending around this overall ridge of that we have back to the south and west there. And so that kind of gives us just that overall, that perfect angle there that we end up in this situation there with this kind of general northwest flow. So again, we call it northwest flow because this is obviously very basic here, but the winds are from the north and west associated with it. And so it's going to be kind of the angle where we have kind of a sustained chance for some rainfall throughout a good chunk of tomorrow because of that. Here's a look at Futurecast. As you'll note here, again, we are in the dry category this evening. This is looking at 7:30 or so. Clouds do continue to go on the increase, but not really in any meaningful or substantial way, with the more significant rainfall still back out there closer to Little Rock, Arkansas at that point in time. 8:39, 10 o'clock into tonight, a couple of sprinkles. We talked about maybe a few of those. This is not meaningful moisture. This is about as low as our scale goes. But a lot of times in this situation, we have to start moistening up the atmosphere. So what starts off as a little bit of rainfall picks up and gets a little heavier and a little heavier. And so that's what will eventually happen with this. You'll notice 10:30, 11 o'clock, not much out there, but then a greater quantity, kind of a more impressive wave of that rainfall moving in from the north and west. And you can see a lot more impressive closer to the center of low pressure back out there toward Kansas. So again, we're just kind of at the beginning of whatever we're going to end up seeing there by around 3 o'clock in the morning or so. By around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, I know, just in time for your morning commute, especially in the northwest part of the state, that rainfall becoming a lot more likely. And there's some decent, a couple of thunderstorms mixing in with this back out into Arkansas. Versus us, it's kind of that shield of what we a lot of times refer to as stratiform precipitation, just kind of the blanket precipitation as opposed to necessarily thunderstorms. So there'll be no severe weather on this, but it's the consistent nature of this rain as it kind of rolls in, as moisture kind of rolls over top of this front. Because you notice if you look closely, some of those dots on south kind of moving northward, as that combination there will help us to produce that rainfall that kind of increases in coverage as we go throughout your Thursday. And so you'll notice it stays pretty consistent. Now, we do have a chance, maybe again, a few thunderstorms. This is not severe weather, but it's the consistent nature of the rainfall. I mean, you're at 40% on the lightest coverage between tomorrow at 6 a.m. and this time to later tomorrow evening. And so that means not everybody sees it nonstop, but it's that consistent rainfall, and it's, what is it? The consistency over time makes a big difference. And so in this case, while it's not as heavy as some of the downpours we've been getting recently, we're going to see it consistent enough that, again, it could add up to a couple of inches, 2, 3 or more inches of rainfall in some spots, something we desperately need. And I'll be honest, you probably heard me last night being a little bit, I wasn't hard on Gabe. What's the word I'm looking for? I was the naysayer on this, just trying to play devil's advocate for a moment. It does look like we have decent rainfall out there. I'm hoping by this point tomorrow we're not somehow disappointed that the dry air comes in. I know, Gabe. So I'm backing you up on that, right? I'm just temper expectations, because in a drought, you want to see it, certainly. So that's something we'll be watching here in the Room to Room Weather Center. 69 at 9 a.m., 78 by noon. Yeah, that's right. Only upper 70s, maybe very low 80s for tomorrow. I think we could still have a couple mid 80s out there for some locations down south and west, closer to Yazoo City. And that has everything to do with, again, where the positioning of the rainfall is the heaviest. We get some dry patches. It is August. And as a result, there will still be some spots maybe close to the mid-80s. We'll look city by city at who's involved in that live from the Room to Room Weather Center as Mississippi Live Weather at 5 continues right after this.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
At Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical, since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs. Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobheim.
Well, Matt will be joining us here in just a moment, but what we're going to be assessing right now is that soggier forecast heading into our Thursday, but let's just enjoy the drier conditions what we have right now. What is it called? The calm before the storm? Well, we're calling this forecast the calm before the showers. So what we saw yesterday evening was Michelle there in Union County submitting this picture of those dry conditions, setting the scene for what has been a mostly dry Wednesday as a result. That's just still that northwest flow circulating in some of that drier air. But what we also saw heading into last night was a cooling trend that we have not seen in quite a while. Low temperatures yesterday, or should I say this morning, low 50s up there around Alcorn and Prentiss County, 50 to 52 degrees, 55. We actually had some readings in Tupelo over there at the airport that got us down to 54, and we did get over towards 56 there towards the Memphis area. So just a cool forecast, and even down south, low 60s, definitely not a shabby forecast whatsoever. But we brought this graphic up yesterday. That was the record low temperatures, and you see two new temperatures in that graphic forecasted for 2025 on your August 27th. That is Tupelo having 54 degrees and 56 degrees in Memphis. That is the new record. Formerly was 58 for Memphis and was formerly 56 in Tupelo. So an 80-year record officially broken. That's your happy birthday, Matt, for your birthday
That was
forecast.
a nice school start.
Yeah, definitely not bad whatsoever, but definitely enough to at least grab the long sleeves. I put on a long sleeve shirt this morning to accommodate for some of those cooler temperatures, but you haven't needed it this afternoon as temperatures climbed into the mid to upper 80s, 89 Greenwood, Greenville, 85 Senatobia, and 83 towards Union County in New Albany. So those temperatures going to be slightly warmer. That's a result of some of that warming trend that we'll see over the next couple of days. Oxford, 82 degrees, feels around 81 because that dew point in the upper 40s shows how dry that forecast is. Now that does start to shift over the next few days. That's something that we are awaiting for our Thursday, but we'll take every bit of this dry air while we get it. 84 degrees, dew point around 57 there towards Winona. And then as we head towards the east just a bit in Pontotoc, 81 degrees with the dew point still right around that upper 40s. Northerly winds definitely a big contributor to that forecast. So as long as those northern winds circulate in, we'll still see that drier air. Now I know we have church this evening, so that church forecast is going to be 6 p.m. around 80 degrees, 8 p.m. 72, and 10 p.m. closer to the upper 60s. So an enjoyable forecast all the way around, but soak in those last dry hour, should I say, because all that does change heading overnight. You can see your Wednesday evening, like I mentioned, staying on the drier side, but as we head further into that 10 and 11 o'clock hour, those showers crossing the Mississippi River, and we see some of those light isolated showers developing there along Clarksdale, Shelby, and even as far northeast as Senatobia. So that's going to be the first batch. Those dissolve relatively quickly, and then we'll see the main batch move in as we head further into those overnight hours and the start of our Thursday morning. I mean, take a look at that. Some of those moderate showers that are developing right over the northwest side of our viewing area. So that's going to be the big driver in our forecast for our Thursday, not just when it comes to rain chances, but also when it comes to the temperatures as well. So low temperatures tomorrow morning going to be low to mid 60s. We see 62 Eupora, 63 Starkville and Columbus, 61 Water Valley, and 66 there towards Greenwood. So it is still going to be slightly warmer the further south and west you go, but nonetheless still below average, and we will take that for sure. So Thursday morning, again, that stratiform precipitation, that stratiform rainfall that Matt was mentioning, a big driver in our forecast, and that'll start at 6 a.m. but becoming more widespread there towards the afternoon with some of those moderate showers developing. A large part of that is that warm front that's attached to that low pressure center that Matt was tracking in the central United States. That warm front lifts closer to our region, and we see more of those showers develop as a result. Some of those producing some of those heavier downpours, and so we're talking about those reds, yellows, and oranges that do pop up there towards the afternoon. Those becoming a little bit more numerous as we get into our afternoon and evening time frame. So any Thursday afternoon plans, you need to be definitely trying to figure out how to get those indoors. But further south and west, I'll say rain chances looking less than what we're getting further towards the north and northeast. So the fortunate thing for you guys is we might be seeing mostly dry conditions throughout the entire day, but where those areas are will be dictated towards what we see tomorrow morning and what's developing. So watching meteorologist Maggie McCauley, essential as we get into our Thursday forecast. Then we get some of those moderate rainfall chances moving into the forecast, and even a few rumbles of thunder. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of that attached to this system as we head further into that latter part of our Thursday. High temperatures, though, as Matt was mentioning, going to be limited based off of how much rainfall we see. Mid to upper 70s, but those low to mid 80s trying to prevail in some of those drier areas down there towards Belzona, Greenwood, and Greenville, even on the eastern side of the state where we're not getting meaningful rainfall until late morning or even there towards early afternoon. Low 80s still a realistic possibility. Heat indices still showcased by that drier air, so not going to see much change in those temperatures. But look at how that rainfall just really broadens out. We're going to see those widespread impacts towards Thursday evening, 8, 9, even there towards 10 o'clock as some of those reds and yellows linger in the forecast. So some areas, I said 2+ inches of rainfall yesterday. That could even be higher in some localized spots, which will result in some flash flooding concerns. Of course, we'll walk through that here in just a moment. Those rain chances lingering in the forecast overnight and into the start of our Friday, but you see where they're trending. Further to the south, that northern wind kind of driving those chances away from North Mississippi. So that's where we have the best chances of rainfall. Will be 82 and off towards the south. Now I know Friday, it's Friday night football, and we're so excited about week 1. We're excited to head over to Pontotoc and Amory, but looking at Pontotoc right now, it looks like we're staying dry around that football time frame. But if you're in Starkville or Choctaw, Attala, and there towards Montgomery County, definitely dealing with a few of those spotty showers there around kickoff, and those linger just a bit into that 10 o'clock hour. I'm not saying those games will be completely washed out, but you might be dealing with a few puddles on the field if some of those were to verify some heavier outputs of rainfall. So Saturday, staying on the drier side, and we'll see those rain chances be pulled back just a bit in that extended forecast. Now, high temperatures for Friday, I think we're underdoing it just a bit. I really expect these to be a few degrees higher, but upper 70s, low 80s still in our forecast in that extended outlook for Friday. So it is going to still be below average, and that's the joy of this entire forecast, is the fact that we are still getting those fall-like conditions despite it being late August, which should still be in the thick of summer. So those low temperatures, like we mentioned, going to be impacted this morning. 56 degrees was the low, but 62 for Thursday, 61 for Friday. Those rain chances keep our temperatures pretty uniform over that extended time frame, the next 7 days, and high temperatures follow that same trend. Yes, we're being pushed back just a bit, falling into the low 80s there for Thursday and Friday, but those climb back into the mid 80s and remain pretty consistent as those rain chances linger. Drier conditions push in midweek of next week, and you see what temperatures start to do. Yeah, warming just a little bit. That warming trend is something we're going to be monitoring in that extended forecast. Are we expecting summer heat to return? Not an impossibility. We are still in the thick of summer, but at least for the next 7 to 10 days, we don't really expect that to be the case, and we are going to keep an eye on that in that extended forecast. The thing that you guys really need to know, rain chances going to be a big driver in our forecast for our Thursday, and those lingering into the weekend as well. So have that rain gear in the back seat just in case as those showers linger around. And we'll be tracking those rain chances in more detail, how much we're supposed to get, and just the flooding risk that that's going to be attached with it. That, of course, coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Now, I want to end the broadcast shouting out a very special individual on his big day. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Matt, you got the day started in the low to mid 50s. Was that a birthday blessing you gave to us? We're supposed to give you presents today.
No, I can't claim it. Here's why I never claim a good day, because I'm not accepting a bad one.
That makes sense. But folks in chat, just wishing you a big happy birthday, and we're so grateful for you and just all that you do here in North Mississippi, here at Mississippi Live Weather, but just being out in the community. And so we're, of course, all celebrating you here in Mississippi.
I appreciate all the well wishes, and it's just God has blessed me and my family very, very much in the last year, bringing you to this venture. Maggie, who started the morning show today. There's a lot of rough parts about this behind the scenes occasionally, and a lot of amazing things on the way. It's somebody likened it to having a 1-2 month old now. You don't sleep a whole lot and you're always afraid of killing it. That's what it's like having a new business. But gotta give props to my wife. It's keeping her around has been the best present ever.
Well, we thank her for sharing you with us, because without you, who knows where this Mississippi Live Weather wouldn't even be existing, right?
True, but I still think people will be okay, so I appreciate that.
Well, big happy birthday to you, Matt, and of course, have a fantastic day. You'll be back with us tonight at 6, walking through those rain chances in more detail. So if you go out to celebrate tomorrow, you might need that rain gear handy. We'll, of course, walk you through that forecast in detail coming up here in just a couple of minutes. You can, of course, download the app on iOS and Android. You'll see that at the bottom left and right of your screen, and we do have those accessible on Roku as well. And that's going to be Mississippi Live. Search that in the search bar, and then you'll be able to download that today. So we also have live broadcasts at 6 and 10, like I was mentioning. But then, latest edition, if you missed it this morning, don't worry, she'll be back tomorrow, 6:30, 7, and 7:30. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley walking us through, hey, tomorrow morning you're going to really need to watch those rain chances, just what to expect as you head into your work day and your school day. She'll have the latest details coming up tomorrow morning, but we'll see you back here in just over 30 minutes.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures